When Essendon met Carlton at VFL Park on Anzac Day, a crowd of 77,770 turned up to see the undefeated teams tangle. It was the biggest crowd ever to see a match at the park, and they weren't disappointed. With Des Tubman leading the charge and young Simon Madden, a 17-year-old schoolboy, kicking 6 goals, Essendon won by 17 points in a match remembered for its ferocity.
With a tap back towards Noonan. Noonan breaks clear, steadies, he kicks. He's put it through.
When Essendon and Carlton met the second time round, there were some old scores to settle. Field umpire Ian Robertson had his hands full as he sorted this tangle out. In a marathon sitting in the league tribunal, 8 players faced 11 charges. Carlton's Rod Ashman and Rod Austin got 4 weeks. Philip Pennell 2 weeks and David Mackay a reprimand. Of the Essendon players, Robin Close and Laurie Maloney got 2 weeks, with Ron Andrews and Neville Fields cleared. In the second encounter for the year, Carlton won the fight and the match by 80 points. The Blues kicked a record 14-1 in the second quarter and still had time to brawl.
Welcome to the Magnet, episode 9. Before we get into introductions and such, footy's back, I've been told, and we've got Bully here live to have a chat to us about that. Bully, over to you. Tell us what's going on.
G'day, boys. Yes, you've said it. We are back, or officially back as of today. The Southern Footy League have come out and said that they're ready to go. So the 25th of next month, 25th of July, start-up date. The boys train tonight. We're a young group, so we're thinking if we can get all their ducks in a row, I guess, that we're ready to go, which is exciting. Probably over, I think next week have a committee meeting, and we'll have to thrash through a few things. I still think there's a little bit of stuff to be. Probably the Southern Footy League haven't put all their cards out just yet, but once we get them through, we'll sit down as a footy club and make the decision that we think's right for the footy club moving forward.
Yeah, so ones and twos, or is that still to be discussed?
That's to be discussed.
Yeah.
You can field a one side, a two side. You can field just a netball side if you want. I think so. The choice is there. So they're all the things that we've got to work through and see what's going to. I suppose what transpires after that.
Yeah. So is there a deadline to?
There is
all
a deadline.
Yep.
Friday week, which is that the 3rd? I think it is. Rings a bell. All the dates in my head, but the 3rd is the deadline for us and every other club in the Southern League to say yes, we're in, or no, we're not.
Yep.
And then obviously. We move on from there.
Yeah, okay. So, and then obviously after that we'll get a draw and we'll know what's going on, what other teams are going to be involved, and who's putting first and second reserves in
that's right. Yeah, so there's still a little bit to come out, but they are moving forward and they say they're ready to go. So, we'll have to wait till next week to make that decision.
Okay, so July 25th, we're back.
We're back
thanks for your time, unless you've got anything else to...
That's it, mate. Yep. So, thanks for having me on, boys.
No worries.
Good show.
Okay,
cheers.
Thank you.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Again, thank you to Major Tom, video live streaming, podcast, editing, marketing via all social media platforms for your businesses and influencers. And how is it going, Codge?
Really well.
Really well,
We've got another live stream going on.
Another live stream coming up.
And we're looking at creating a lot more OTT websites.
Oh, okay, excellent.
We'll keep you up to date with that with more sport.
Okay, excellent.
You can pay for it for $5 a month.
$5 a month.
$5 a month.
I love it.
Divided by 10, that's not much, is it?
50 cent.
Yeah, not much.
50
I
cent,
like
as they say in the rap world. 50 cent. Our resident greyhound is back on the oval. I can see him running.
Is he having a shit yet, or
not
yet?
yet?
No, not.
Tell us what the show's like. We want to thank Two Moons Financial Solutions as well for sponsoring tonight's show. So, Darren Moon, he's going to be on later. We're going to have a chat to him. He'll tell us all about his business. But if you need a mortgage broker, you're refinancing, I believe he has competitive rates. He's nodding his head. Yes, yeah, he is. Thumbs up. So, all good. Thank you to Two Moons Financial Services. We'll talk a little bit about them later. I just wanted to send a cheerio to your old man, mate. I hope he's comfortable. He's having a quiet tinny tonight and he's listening to the show.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I
Cheers.
hope he's all well. I believe you might have to go and see him again soon.
Yeah, I think I've got to go up on the 4th. So after next week's show, I've got to shoot up there and with my sister again and knock out a few things we need to do to sort of sort his life out at the moment. So, but thanks for that, mate. I really appreciate that. It's great.
No problem. Just a little bit about tonight's show. We've got current player Darren Walsh joining us tonight. Thanks, Walshy. I believe this is an exclusive interview, and you don't do interviews. Is that right?
I don't do interviews.
He's like the hermit crab of Chelsea Heights. Hard to get hold of him. He just pops up.
Well,
So there we go.
Okay, we'll have a bit of a chat to you in a moment. We're catching up with the two Moons, as I mentioned later. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're hoping they can share a few demon tiles with us. We've got Bisho's Bet of the Week after the King of Hastings. He was awful.
There's a bit of feedback from that.
Yeah, I did catch up with the real King of Hastings Street, that is the Sarge. He gave a cheerio to everyone. He said he's been listening in. So that's
Nice,
great.
Malcolm.
Yeah, we've got our best 22, which is week 9, I should change that, which is our life members. So that'll be interesting. Apparently, Bearsy did it, and he said there was about 50 to choose from.
Is this going to be another one?
I believe you're in it.
in there.
You might be in there. You
Full
might
forward.
be in there. Yeah, it could be.
Or this could be Neil Lockhart. If you're listening, please let us know we've done wrong.
Exactly.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah. Well, we're taking questions from the audience as we always do. We've got this. I've got this going really well here. I've got Dave's Dingers Bear Bums Jimmy Streeter's Joke of the Week. Which is it this week?
It's Dave's this week.
Dave's
this week.
He's back.
It's going to be late, so we'll never know what's going to get from Dave. Apparently, it's a decent joke.
Decent joke.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, we'll see how that goes too.
Yeah. I'm going to have a chat to you about next week's show. Look,
Yep.
This is going to be an absolute ripper. I'm so looking forward to this. We're doing a retro show, and it's all about the great man, Jock McGregor.
What a great man. My first coach taught me a lot of things. Pull your socks up. If you can't be a footballer, look like a footballer. Don't be a lazy bastard, Todd. Why are you hiding behind the thingo?
Yep.
Good man, great man. And we're going to have his daughter Karen on.
Yeah, Karen, yeah.
He's actually, like Karen, spoke to Karen during the week, and she's still got his original bag.
Yep.
With all his old team sheets,
Wow.
and so it would be like a massive blast from the past.
Yeah.
We were hoping to get Keith Robbins on.
Oh, wow.
Who we spoke a lot about the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Who's been touted as one of the best players. So that's 50-50 at the moment. But it's really good. So we're looking for gumboots, oversized old jackets,
yeah.
fake mows,
Yeah.
and
The
caps.
peak cap,
the peak cap that Jeff Harmon wears so well. So we'll see how we go.
And we're hoping, this is fingers crossed, is a man out there called Slugger. We might have to give you a call because there's a famous war cry that Jocker created.
That's
and
it.
It didn't matter where you were on the ground. It might have been, late in the last quarter, but you would hear it. Didn't matter where you were. His voice was amazing. How he could get that out.
Hear it from everywhere. It was actually, it's really famous.
It is.
And it's we'll try and get Slug's probably the best.
Yeah, Slugger to do it. And all the new blokes there that don't know it, you're about to learn a lot about it. And I remember in the old Magnet in the full bar, he would let it rip after a game, and it was fantastic.
It was very, very powerful thing to listen to.
Yeah, and we've also we've got the girls in from Miranda Accounting Services.
It's tax time next week, so
Tax time. Gotta love
get the
tax
girls
time.
in. Yeah, and
Is there any better time?
exactly. And they'll make tax interesting.
They will. They will.
That's
They'll
good.
make it interesting. So I want to introduce Darren. I'm just going to say he was originally from the Sandy Dragons. He played 2 games at the Bombers when drafted in 2002, and he's been at the Heights. I'm not sure when did you start at the Heights?
Started at the Heights 06.
06, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, 07, yeah. That time.
So, thanks very much for joining us. So I'll give you the floor to tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about playing at the Heights, your family, and what you do for a crust.
Yeah, well, started at 06. Came out a few mates here from school and stuff, so I wanted to play with them, and came in for the first 2 years, and they all left me, so I was kind of like, shit, what do I do now? And stuck around because I love the joint and had a ball, and I can't regret a thing. So, and family.
Who'd you come down with? Who were your mates?
Oh,
who ditched you?
Ryan Stewart.
Yes, Stewie.
Noel Hendricks, Mikey Roberts, a few boys that I grew up with and pretty close mates still with. But they lasted about a year or so, and then they all left me. So, but I hung around because it's a great club and I've loved it here, and I can't complain. But so still here somehow.
That's
Don't know why.
Okay,
That's
next
good.
question.
That's good. That's good.
Family wise,
Yeah. What's the go?
What was it? Crust and work. And
Yeah, what we do for it,
Yeah.
if you've got a business, give it a plug. That's what we're here for.
business is shit.
Do you do splits air conditions? Do you
do.
install them?
I do.
Because Nicole's after someone else, so there's a job straight away.
I heard she wants
Look after you straight away. See, that you've been in, 30
So-
seconds, you got a job.
And I've got 2 jobs actually, so is Cal, so I'm flying. Absolutely flying.
You're paying us.
So you're doing air conditioning, and what about family?
Family, I got a partner and a little girl, she's 2. And
yeah.
Sarah and Billy, and no, everything's going well. I'm happy as Larry, so can't complain. And
Yeah,
it's good, so hopefully maybe another one soon.
excellent.
She wants one, I'm still a bit.
You know, you've got no choice.
Yeah.
Do you know how it works?
She's the boss.
Yeah.
She's
You want a bit? You're in.
Unless I get one.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So before you ask the next question, we're going to play a bit of footage of yourself, mate. Let's have a look at it, and then we're going to ask you a few questions
In
about
favour
the
of the
playing
Bulldogs.
Bombers.
Bombers lead by 12.
you there.
Walsh, in his first game under pressure, Hurd, looping it over the top. Solomon or crunch. Welcome to senior footy, but he stands up, Walsh, and kicks for Lloyd. And he might
your
just
mate.
press the pause
Off your
button.
good mate there, Lloydie.
Fast forward. Peverill belting the way along the wing. He waits, they've got numbers
Oh,
going.
you're back
This is
there,
young
back
Walsh
again.
again.
yes.
Suddenly he got rid of it. Peverill, they're closing in. Poor handball. But Essendon had numbers. Lloyd, a fumble. West pursuing, harassing. Lloyd got away. He got away and kicks it.
And do you give him a pat on the back here, looks like?
Matthew
And I see you didn't actually turn around and recognise you did anything. He just claimed that on get away, young
double
fella.
checking, make sure
You know
his
who the
name was
star
in the
is.
paper.
You know who the star
He didn't
is.
want to borrow you there.
Exactly right.
Well, yeah, he's probably right. He probably didn't. But, no, look, that was a good night, that. That was good
Was that your first
experience.
game or second game?
First game. It was a good experience, I suppose. So, do we get played again? I was want to say that for a while. But,
You can
no,
buy
it was
a
good.
copy.
Yeah, so, no, look, it was a good experience and I loved every second of it. But, yeah, it was...
So you actually got you got called into the old Gatorade shower, is that right? We couldn't find that footage.
I did, as you said on the little highlight, I had a bit of hair there, so it soaked it right up and went through about a litre of the Gatorade in the hair and
It's
it was
magnificent.
sticky for a while.
Righto, tell us about the 2002 draft, playing in Essendon, and what you learnt from that experience and the coaching staff, how it was
02
as a young
draft,
kid.
Long time ago now, but it was funny, right? Like, I was always loved athletics growing up, so footy for me was a bit of a second sport, so everything happened pretty quickly for me. I was only really started playing footy seriously, I guess, when I was 16. So when everything kind of started happening and these things started to be a bit of a realisation, it was interesting to kind of choose between athletics that I loved doing every summer and then hang on, footy is a bit of a chance here for a future, I guess. And so getting to Essendon and everything was good and different. I was only 17, still I was getting the training
Oh, wow.
Springvale Station to Windy Hill every day because I was only 17, which was good.
Did you buy a ticket?
I think back in those days you had to. I think there was no technology back in those days. So yeah, I bought the old little ticket and pushed it in a little machine and stamps it and stuff. So, but look, you learn. It's funny. Footy hasn't changed much. I think only thing with Essendon, maybe even Chelsea Heights, is that it's just that the professionalism is a bit different. So you get all your coaches and you're on different lines and you're watching everything back and forth. But at the end of the day, you're playing against different sides every week, so everything's going to change every week. Everyone knows how to play football, and I think if you just do everything properly and train hard and do the right things, footy is not a very complicated game.
It's a simple game
It's not
if
a
you
very
keep it
complicated
simple,
game,
that's
but-
for
so-
sure.
But it's just more professional, I suppose, the whole thing, if you get to that level. But it's not much different than playing footy here.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. We keep it simple, but our mind sometimes makes it difficult for us.
Yeah.
And what about coaching stuff? Was it would have been Kevin Sheedy, wasn't that back?
Sheedy,
Yeah,
Kevin Sheedy was
what was
the
he
coach. I was a dud playing too, so I didn't have much to do with him. But look, he's a different cat, and he's obviously a legend in the game and knows his footy. But you have a chat to him here and there. But I was more dealing with kind of Mark Harvey, who's still at the club now, was kind of more of a coach for me. He kind of guided the young kids at that stage, and but he was just a tough, hard player. If you didn't put your head over the footy, then you might as well have just left the club. Kind of thing. So it was brutal. It's a brutal sport, footy. If you get one chance to make it, if you don't, you're kind of kicked out in the curb pretty quickly. So no, it was a good experience, but no regrets with.
So with Sheeds, did he speak to you after that night? Is he
After
someone?
that
Is he
night?
someone that pulls you aside or
yes,
not?
Yeah. No, he
Yeah.
pulls you aside
Yeah.
and you give feedback, and he says, you know, his little tube Bob. He's very, very quiet because, as I said, there's so many coaches there.
Yeah.
But look, not that night probably in particular, but you know, maybe on the Monday or Tuesday, I'm sure he would have had a bit of a chat and said, you know, well done kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can't remember for a fact, but no, he's good. He's good, Sheeds. He was just he's a different case. His mind thinks in different ways than other people.
Yeah.
But I'll love to see him again sometime soon. Second day, I don't think he'd remember who I was.
We'll get him on the show. Don't worry.
We will indeed.
I'll get you to call him because we've got no.
Strings, yeah, we'll try.
Why not?
Excellent. Sheeds would have been fantastic to obviously be coached by Sheeds.
Yeah.
So further that, this is what I read on the internet, that you had some health problems at that stage, and that's when you were delisted by the Bombers. Is that something you saw coming? And when that did happen, was that like a fresh start or a point where you thought, well, do I want to still play footy? Is that something that when that delisting happened, is it like, oh, I don't want to play footy anymore, want to walk away, or does that put the fire in the belly to say? We obviously get your 2-year contract straight up, and had those games in my first year, and then second year obviously is a big kind of time in your career. Yeah.
Where if you don't kind of, I suppose, start making steps forward, you might be on the chopping block. And I was going really well. I was really skinny at the time and put on about 5 or 6 kilos, got to about 85, and I was flying and got glandular fever, which knocked me about a bit. And I was next 3 months, I played the first NAB Cup game, and then the next 3 months after that, I was pretty crook and lost 10 kilos and just couldn't really do a thing. So I was basically kind of got right again, maybe halfway through the year, and never really recovered that second year. I was unfit and couldn't run out games. And so I kind of saw it coming, but and then when you say about the end of the year how it all kind of pans out, once I got the marching orders, I kind of didn't realise it was gone till it was gone, I suppose. I kind of walked in and think, oh well, it's all over. Went and got a new job, started playing footy locally. And then you realise after it's all done that you go, fuck, had it pretty good there.
Yeah.
So I was a bit older and knew what I knew now, it'd be a different story. But at that stage of my life, I was only a kid, only 18 years old, 19 years old, so you didn't really realise how good you had it, I think.
Yeah. And what happens after that delisting? Did the phone ring, or what happened? Did you get a lot of VFA clubs or other AFL clubs or anything? You had a manager back then, or
had a manager? You had a few clubs ringing up and stuff like that. But as I said, footy for me was a bit of a second fiddle. So I never really I love footy, but I didn't love footy. I think there's a lot of blokes who live and breathe footy, and that's what I do for a living. Where I was a bit more kind of happened. Luckily, I suppose it's a bit arrogant to say, but it's kind of just happened for me.
Yeah.
And, so I got a few clubs ring and ended up playing at Naval Park, which was good footy.
Yeah.
And it was close to home, which was handy as well. So I ended up going there and playing there for a few years.
And how many premierships there?
Lost 2 flags there.
Oh, you lost 2 flags. I was going to say, they made it.
It's a Chelsea one's curse, isn't it?
I think I'm the curse.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. I'll go, just can't win flags. So, no, but look, it was it was good, but as I said, everything happens for a reason, and I've wound up here, and I'm pretty happy. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's not everything at the time. It probably is,
exactly.
but when you get a little bit older and you get more mature, you actually realise that some things are not that important than what you thought at the time. So, and like I said, I wanted to read out things, not to embarrass you, but there was a big, massive wrap up. It was up on the board before, and you played 2 games and said the very exciting times for Walsh and that kind of stuff. And then it all ended, basically in the blink of an eye. So. It's obviously pretty tough to deal with, but I mean that's life, and you're not the only one to go through that.
I'll tell you a stat. You've played 2 games more than probably 99% of the population.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Think of it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's true because that's, I think, everyone growing up as a kid who picks up a footy just would love to play AFL for their team or a team or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And for, like I said, for so many people, it's never ever going to be some sort of reality.
Yep.
You did it. And at
hold
least
your head on that, I suppose. That's one thing you can hold your head on, I suppose.
Well, that's it. You're good enough to make it, and you hold your head up high, and that's it. And some people's careers go different paths and that kind of stuff, and that's the way yours went. So
it's amazing.
That's the way it is. That's basically life. So, so I can call you a veteran, I suppose. Now, Wally, how old are you now? You've always been reasonably good looking and young sort of looking character, I suppose. 35.
Yeah, skin's still good.
Jesus, young, I tell you.
G'day.
So you played a lot of footy. You've been around the footy. Have you ever been introduced or had been involved in any kind of, like this year, like this weird year that's going through with footy? It's just bizarre.
It is, isn't it?
It's just crazy, and I miss the footy. I have to work with my job, and I miss a lot of footy, but I'm really missing it. Like, really missing it. So it's just
one of those
crazy.
Things when it gets taken away from you, you kind of realise how much you love it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like, it was kind of like, I had all intentions to come a bit of a kick this year, and then this whole COVID happened, and then I was like, just sat at home and just drank cans, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to get back here. It's going to be the end of me. It's going to end on COVID. But come down tonight and watching the boys run around, and there's still a really good vibe at the club, and kind of get you thinking again.
Well, and that's not really on it, but the next question. Do you have another year in you? Because everyone's missed it this year, okay?
Yeah.
So everyone wants...
So I should be fresh, you'd think. My body should be fine.
Let's hope so. But, does it inspire you to go, you know what, bugger it? Because what I do is I've told a lot of people, once you finish and once you're on this side of the fence, it ends.
That's it. Yeah.
And you can sit back here and talk and say, I should have done this and I should have, and this, and you can point fingers at people out there playing.
Yeah.
But when it's actually over, it is over.
It's over.
And you really miss it. I still miss it, There's not a bloke who wouldn't sit on this lot, would still love to be able to somehow at 55, 60 years old, still thinking about putting the boots on and playing footy.
No, I think that's the thing. I think it's not about... I hate training. That's what kills. But once you're out on the field and you're playing footy and you get that competitive spirit up and you're playing against other teams and you just want to bash them and beat them, that's what you love. That's what you miss. And with your team, when you ever win, you sing the song and it's like, how good is this? And so I think that's what I miss the most. Like, even though your body's starting to say, Daz, give it up, but you come down and watch all the boys train and laughing and having a few jokes and you're like, yeah. If you can keep going, you just want to do it for as long as you can.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to embarrass yourself as well. You don't want to get to a stage like,
no, you don't want to be a goose, but you know what I mean. You want to see how far you can go and go as long as you can, without obviously you making it being embarrassing or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's it, because that's what you miss. It's not so much the on-field stuff, but the off-field stuff that you miss. It's the team song. It's the sitting around in the shower. It's the little jokes you miss, and that's the stuff you never get back. And once you're out of that scene or whatever, it's gone forever. So you don't want to sort of call it too early. So.
Yeah. And again, at your age, you will know what your body needs, and you will know that you don't have to be out there on a Tuesday night and thrash yourself, but you know what your body needs.
Sit in the square, that's all I need, Bully. Just remember that. I don't need to be training.
Do you want to repeat that? He's probably listening.
Has he still got it? Is he still here somewhere?
No, just repeat it in case he hasn't heard it the first time.
Do you know Frank Cuggs?
Who?
Frank Cuggs?
Frank Cuggs.
Nah. Cuggs, C-U-G-S.
Is this a stitch up?
No, it might be a misname for someone. I'm not sure what's going on here.
He said brush your hair.
Frank.
Yeah, Frank. No, don't know. That's all good.
Frank's watching the wrong show. There's not much hair around here.
Frank Cuggs, brush me hair.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll find out who Cuggsy is soon.
We'll find out who
Let us know who you are.
is. So tell us when the season does get started, what you're looking forward to, and a few of the players that you've seen so far that you're really looking forward to seeing as well.
Well, yeah, I think it's such a great little vibe this year. Like, everyone is enthused, everyone's training, everyone's happy, good laugh in the club. Wally's got them going really well. Obviously, you got it's a young club, but it's one of those group of kids where you can just see them coming through the next 10 years together, which is good for a footy club. It's what you need. You need everyone to stick together, and you get 2 or 3 years in, 4 years in, and then once you get to that stage, they know each other's games back to front, and then the team just gels, and that's when you start winning flags. And I think the recent thing over the years has been probably like Dingley. Like, they started as kids and they've just stuck, and then they've won like 6 flags in 9 years, kind of thing. They're killing it. That's what you need at the footy club. Just start young, grow together, and you know everyone's going back to front, and you'll die for your teammates, and that's how you win flags. And this year, I think that's how it's looking. It was a bit of a shame how it all stopped, because it was just a great buzz around here. And
it was, wasn't it? You know, and
it was
really exciting. I mean,
yeah,
we had young blokes, so
yeah.
there was no too many predetermined things how we were going to go, but it was just that whole buzz that Bully and that is brought in, and it was actually really exciting.
Gaz and Robbo and those blokes, the older fellas who were just invested in the kids as well and cared about them, and it was just a real good vibe. So it's a shame that it all happened, but hopefully it can stick around and it'll just kick off again and everything goes well. But obviously your Stans Geordie's going to be obviously a little gun again, and I just heard a little rumour that Matho's back from. Matho's back from.
He's in isolation, is he?
He's in ISO, but he's back now, and just look out females, because he's ready to go again down there. So
what happened to the Russian bride? If you know something, I'm not going to
Russian bride, Russian royalty it was.
Sorry, Russian royalty, Anastasia too.
Yeah. It must be your partner, Sarah Jane, is it?
Sarah Jane.
Here we go. She just said Billy says hi, Daddy. So that's very cute. Online, very nice.
That is very nice.
She should be in bed, shouldn't she?
She's waiting for you to come home. We're holding you up.
Sarah or both of them?
Before you go, I've got a story to read you. Yeah. I hope you don't tear up. It's been sent in from one of your teammates. I won't mention who it is, but I'll read it to you.
Who's the teammate first?
I won't say. You'll pick it once I tell you the story. It's not a funny story, Nick. It's one for the heart. So I hope you got your hanky ready.
My mascara will cry.
You will. You might. So it's got here. It's Wally, our very, very one and only Peter Burgoyne. Silky, the Rolls Royce, very old fashioned, loves a beer with his teammates and a dart. Endured our most successful period in Division 1, and also stuck out some bloody tough times at the Heights. He has mentioned here a season when Benny Lockwood was coach. There was a massive exodus of retirees, and a lot of the players actually moved on for cash. And a few were a little bit unsure of their future. Obviously, Matho stuck around as well. Most of the older guys have retired or moved on, or pretty much leaving. And this person and yourself were the 2 sort of veterans left at the club. You were potentially going to move on. You were thinking about leaving. Only that, you had the mates at the time that made you stick around. Obviously, Pup would have got into you if that was going to happen. And the story goes that early pre-season, yourself and this person, you told him to grab a stubby or 2 and said go for a walk towards the netball grounds. 2 stubbies, in fact, 1 for the way back. You laid it out to him. You said you wanted to stay, and also you said that yourself, this person, Matho, had to hang in there. Both knew the club was going to be against it at that stage of the club's history. There were going to be plenty of new guys coming along, and you were going to be the one that was going to take the lead and help these new guys settle into the club and take it to a new dynasty. Benny Lockers, the coach, wanted you to move to the back line. We all know that you're a natural athlete, this person says, and you had the endurance, but needed more, so they hinted at getting you really fit that year. And this person assisted you to run at least 5Ks before you actually even went training, and then you would train afterwards, and then you take part in the main session. And they said that this was the best year that you ever had at the Heights, that you actually dominated with your elite skills, and it was very Pendlebury-like, just because of that extra fitness, etc. that you put in. Everyone had pinned you to finish the team to finish down in the bottom, and you'd get plenty of sprays from lockers during the season. And you actually just missed out on winning the second final to sneak into the prelim. And he says that you're a ripping bloke and you are a true hider, especially from that story.
Wally's got no idea who it is.
Yeah.
Eh?
I'm still thinking.
No, I've got no idea. I can't believe anyone would say something that is nice to anyone around here.
I'm still thinking.
It's not a stitch up.
It's not a stitch up at all.
It's not
You're
puppet.
gonna tell me. I have to guess.
I've got no idea. It's not. I'm not Tony Barber. I'm not asking the question.
Do I have to guess who it is? Or-
Yeah,
guess.
sure.
And they actually get right because the bloke.
No, if I get it wrong, that's a bit of an insight,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. You'll get shit camp. I've got
Has
no
to
idea.
be. Has to be.
Ryan Flack?
No.
No,
Fighter.
I said right.
Fighter.
Was it?
Fighter.
Wait,
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that was
So
in
he
him.
see you in that nice story and he wanted me to read that
Not
out
him.
and just to prove how much of a hider you are
Not him.
by
I appreciate
that story. Yeah.
Leroy's good on him.
Sorry, Flacky.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
5K might be a bit far. I don't think I can do that. Yeah, too many ciggies and dart and bloody.
There's a bit of mayo in that story, Flacky, but it's
Flatsy,
good anyway.
Yeah.
Good on you, Thwaiter. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. That's really nice.
That's very nice, actually. That's a
It
really
is.
nice
It's
thing
a
to
it's
hear,
a really
so-
good story
And
to
we
share.
appreciate it. The blokes have been around. You know, we know that they've been around for a long time. We see people come and go and stuff like that, and we understand that. And for the people to hang around like yourself and help us out, help the club out, it means a great deal. So thanks for that. Couldn't appreciate it anymore. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, thanks very much for joining us. We'll let you get home to
worries.
Billy and Sarah.
No worries,
Get
thank
her,
you.
get her to bed.
Yeah, hopefully she's in bed. Better be.
Yeah.
Well, mate, thanks for your first ever interview for a long time. You're not a social media man. You're not. You just pop up when you
Is
pop
this
up.
the last one, Man in the Moons, and that's save the best last? Is this done now? Or?
Well, after the Moons, it might be our last show ever, so we're not exactly sure.
Yeah,
but,
we're not sure, that's right.
If it is, let's go to the bang. Who cares? But thank you, mate. Can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
We want you to keep playing. And there's a guy by the name of Obi that played 1,000 games. If you ever want any advice, I think he played till he was about 40. How old was Obi? I played with him. There you go.
37.
Yeah.
I played with him.
Everyone played with Obi. So give him a call if you're ever thinking about hanging out the
Keep
boots.
going.
He'll just tell you to keep going. So I think he said the secret is surfing. That's what he told me. So that flexibility that you get from surfing. So that's what he told me.
That could be true.
Yeah, it could be true. That's
could be
all right.
true.
So yeah, well, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, guys. Thank you.
No
Cheers
worries.
for that. Have a good night.
No worries. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks,
And,
guys. Yep. And
Good luck. Good luck with the rest of the season. when it
Yeah,
starts.
good luck with the rest of the season. We might even get you back on the Thursday. We're trying to might have a season opener, which would be fantastic. So we'll try and get to speak to most of the players and read out the sides and meet the coaches, etc. So it'd be great.
Yeah, we'll try and get a panel up on that night if it happens. So we'll see how we
sounds
go.
good.
Any more highlights before I go or not?
Have you got any?
You got any more you want to share?
Go on, tell us one.
That's it. I was looking for highlights on the screen. There's none left, I suppose. So that's it.
You must have one. You must have
All right,
one.
I'm out of here. See you guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
mate. Thanks,
for that.
Wally. Cheers.
Yep. All right, it's nearly time for we're gonna get into Bisho's bet, and we'll give him a call with It's
I've had a bit of feedback this week.
little bit of
I don't bet, as you know, I don't bet, but
Yeah.
bit of feedback. I've got a couple from Oliver SF.
SF.
I don't know who it
SF.
is.
He's not happy.
No, not happy at
Not
all.
happy.
Not happy at all.
Hello.
Bisho!
You're guilty!
G'day, boys. How are you?
Good, mate. What's happening? You're good?
Yeah, mate. I'm out camping at the moment down the beach here.
Down the beach.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm just at.
What's the weather like? Was it 25 down there?
Yeah, no, it's a horrible bit. It's about 22. It's cold in the mornings, blue sky, 23, 24, mate. I'm at Majimba Beach, which is about 25k south of Noosa, mate. So it's absolutely gorgeous there.
I don't understand why you still live there, actually. I can't believe it.
Struggles.
Yeah,
Mad as
me
hell.
either.
Crazy.
Me either.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Just the questions. Did you listen to those three Mad Hatters last week, and what did you think?
Yes, mate. No, they're very, very good. The Three Stooges, they were fantastic.
Larry
But
Curly.
yeah, very, very. they're great, the great boys. Yeah, it was good to hear their stories. It was fantastic.
It was good, wasn't it? The true fan probably in the last couple of weeks we're starting to find a little bit more about people we're sort of interviewing, and it's all about a bit of a piss take and a bit of fun. But I suppose Grant's getting come with the good questions. I mean, we're finding a little bit more about what makes them tick and where they're from and how they are.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, another thing about the show is it's not a few questions we'd ask at the bar. We're actually trying to really get to know some people that have been around for a long time, and there's some stories there that we don't know a lot about, and it's great that.
No, it was fantastic. It was Bear Bum and the boys last week. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's been great.
Yeah, that's good. So, should we talk about the King of Hastings, the horse, or the actual King of Hastings Street, known as Sarge?
Oh well, Sarge, he's probably still in shock. I think the bank sent him a statement. There was 2 zeros short in his statement. He's still having a heart attack. But I think the horse, he pulled up with a thump, so that's like a heart irregularity. Yeah. So he's got a few injuries at the horse, but he's a good horse. But the other one should have, follow it next start. If you watch the replay 10 times, and should have been right in the finish. The Rich Charm. Yep. So follow it. Okay. It had no luck at all. So we're a bit stiff there, but no, there's no excuses. It was a bad week for us all, but anyway.
Yeah, we've got the replays up on the screen, so a little bit later you can watch the agony again.
Geez. Yeah, well, I've watched them. I watch them. I do the format. I reckon I've watched them both 10 times. But yeah, I'm sure he pulled up the King of Hastings with a heart irregular. Whatever you call it. Yeah. So I can't even. But well, we'll get this week, and we'll get it back this week, mate.
Yeah, we will. And we're heading to the Heath. Is that right?
Yeah, the Heath. I love Caulfield. Yeah, it's
Caulfield? Good. Yeah. And what have you got for us?
Well, I got the best bet of the day, best bet Australia-wide, probably the worldwide, is race 8, number 4, Harbour Views. It's only $2.05. It should be $1.40.
Okay.
It's a fair
I know
call.
It's not big odds, but mate, it'll be winning. It'll win if Slob was riding it. I tell you, it can't be beaten. I'm telling you now. Yeah. So cannot be beaten, and that's what I said. I tell you what, the first for someone who's listening.
SF. Simon Fanning.
I'm not going to. I didn't say his name. I just said it could have been Steve Fanning.
It could be Steve.
Well, I tell you, or my greatest supporter, little badge.
Yep.
If you have a punt on this horse and it gets beat up to the first bloke up to $50 that gets in touch with you, I'll give you a free bet next week up to $50.
$50.
That's how confident I am.
Yeah. That's like sports bet.
I will say too that smart bet. It is.
We're smart bet here, mate. We're smart bet.
Yeah, I saw the great man. He was down at training. So yeah, Harbour Views. They've been talking it up to actually running the Cox Plate. So they must have a pretty big opinion of it.
Yeah, well, it is a really good horse, mate. And if it's going to be, as you said, in those races, it'll be winning this race on Saturday.
Okay. And what's the best each way for the weekend?
The best each way is in race 6, number 2, called Iconic Star at $8 and $2.70.
Yep.
It's one last start, beat a few of these in the race, so it's a really good horse. I think it's won 6 from 11, so I can't believe it's $8. It should be about $4.50,
Yep.
So each way that, and we'll be on the money, mate. This week we'll redeem ourselves.
Yep, and there's been actually a couple of questions here on the Facebook here, and Whitey up in North Queensland said it's actually cold up in North Queensland. He's up at Airlie Beach. He's saying it's cold, and I got another request here saying Salsa Dreamy might be running tomorrow. Is that correct?
Oh, that's right. I meant to say, he's in tomorrow at Scone. I think he's race 5, number 6.
Yep.
He'll go all right. He's going to the paddock after tomorrow, so. We've kept him in work because he's Bob's bonus. So if you win, you get the extra bucks. But he's up in he goes upper class, but he should be in the finish. Got a good report on him, so he'll run well.
Yeah, Chef just said to me, "Who's Bob?" And what's the bonus?
I have no idea. The only even money bet I'll have tonight is that I'll be pissed about 9:30. That's all. Put your money on that. That's all I've got.
You're the best at every week, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Shooing.
Yeah, you were brilliant last week, mate. You were brilliant last week. It was gold.
Yeah, we started a bit early, actually. But
anyway. We started a bit early, and it was a long show. We're drained. It was over 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it was a big one. It was really good.
Yeah.
Well done to you, blokes. You're doing a great job. It's fantastic.
And as you know, one Fanning's enough.
Oh, one, yeah. Which one, I don't know. But anyway, we'll work on that. We'll work on that for another day.
We'll speak to you next week. And just to let you know, around the Heights, we've had the announcement today, 25th of July, it's the season start. So we're really looking forward to it.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask you because, on the grapevine, I've only heard that Chelsea pulled out of their comp and it's starting again. I was going to ask you when you boys start again.
Yeah, so 25th of July is the date that's been put out there.
Okay.
And we just had the coach on tonight early on that said that the 3rd of July, next Friday, they will finalise their details, whether they're playing seniors and reserves or just seniors. They're going to make a decision about that as well.
Fantastic.
I won't forget the netballs too, and netball.
So you should be able to maybe able to pop down one of those if it all sorted out and gets all on the park. Maybe you can pop down.
Depends on the swell up here, mate. So I've got the boards ready to go, mate. It's a bit flat, but apparently it's going to be 2 foot tomorrow.
Chelsea Ripper riders are calling out for you. I'm telling you now, they missed you.
I've got the water up here is 23 degrees, mate. It'll be cooler down that way.
Oh, yeah, bring your ice skates when you come down.
Better in the water than out, mate, I tell you.
Anyway, thanks for joining us again tonight, and we'll speak to you next week.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Take care, mate.
Let's get these home, and take care up there. I know you're on Struggle Street there, but take care.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, mate. You take care, guys.
No,
good to hear from you.
Good on you,
See you, boys.
See ya. Bye. Now it's time for our Demon Tale and past players, and we've got the two brothers, Darren and Paul Moon. Darren and Paul Moon both recruited from South Districts in 2000. Darren a ruckman and Paul a centre half forward. So, boys, thanks for joining us, Darren and Paul. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Take it in turns. Playing at the Heights family and what you do for a crust now.
Okay, do I go first?
You go first, Darren.
Go for it, Darren. And also, thanks very much for sponsoring the show. So we really want to hear a lot about your business. So
wait till you get the invoice back. Plus GST. So how do we end up, or what I do for a crust? I'm an accountant and a mortgage broker. I've been doing that I've been an accountant all my life, but I've been running my own business for probably 7 years or so now. I've got my office in South Melbourne. I bought tax business of a gentleman named Terry McGee. He used to play at South Melbourne in the VFL. Brother Torchy McGee, so they could have been champions. So a bit of a VFL, AFL alliance there. And been running that business ever since, but in the process of moving close to home out at Caroline Springs, which is about 600-700 kilometres from this ground. So
wow,
and you can walk this time of night. There's no traffic, so all good. But we mum and dad grew up in South Melbourne, Port Melbourne area. Moved out to Broadmeadows, like Chernobyl or Beirut, and they could have gone to Geelong. We might have been a chance there. Went to Broadmeadows Tech with Carl Williams, so he was just doing his apprenticeship, and so that was a lot of fun there.
He wasn't an accountant, was he?
We gave him the bad name. He was a rocket scientist, so he just went in the wrong area. From there, really growing up in Broadmeadows area, mum and dad coming from Port South Melbourne, I guess that's where our roots were, and we always wanted to play football down there. From being 8, 9, we followed Port Melbourne in the VFA. Religiously went there on a Sunday, and we always thought as kids they had a little league down in Port Melbourne, but they didn't, and we ended up playing for a local club there called Park Towers, which was based in South Melbourne. Started at under 11s, and really never looked back. We stayed in South Melbourne pretty much for most of our life until we ended up out here at the Hiders. But the good thing was that we had a good upbringing, 7 kids with mum and dad, and with Paul and I, one a triplet, so we're not twins, we're actually triplets.
Wow.
We were born in 69. Surname Moon, first man landed on the moon, which was ironic. and I've got 4 kiddies. I've got twin boys who were pretty much due on my birthday, but born the day after, which is, again, ironic. And they're not identical, but they bloody look the same.
Yeah.
And, so from there, from a family perspective, that's where and how we ended up in South Melbourne anyway. And pretty much played footy there we played footy for 30 odd years, but that early, all our junior footy and the like was played in South Melbourne until pretty much our mid-20s, and then we ended up at East Keilor for a couple of years, and then the Hiders. So that's pretty much where it was at. But
and give your business a big plug. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I've got
Tell us
a bit.
what you do.
Yeah, so I'm an accountant and a mortgage broker. When you say mortgage broker, a lot of people think what you sell shares or something, but in English it's home loans or car loans, equipment, etc. Been an accountant doing tax returns, so I pretty much feed off my tax clients to do loans and attract loans and the like. So it's pretty much a one-stop finance shop. Yep. I refer things like super and self-managed super funds, risk insurance, general insurance, property investment. Prior role was CFO at a real estate network, so that was good grounding on how to run your business. And I've been pretty much an accountant all my life since I was probably 20 odd up until now, 51. So
You've got some decent clients. If you don't want to drop any names, but a few of the North Melbourne blokes involved
helped out a couple of the North boys and a few of the staff at the North Melbourne Footy Club. Mingled with a few of the boys, the coach a few times, which was good.
Who paid?
Oh, it tastes better when it's free. So the best thing was that I helped Taylor Garner out there for a while. He's a really good kid. He got into a little bit of strife last year, which it was probably publicised wrong. We know the truth, but the way it was publicised was rubbish. He worked in my office full time for 6 or 7 weeks, which was hilarious. We went egging at lunchtime. That was magnificent. Keep him fit, and caught up with the coach and the assistants and the like. As a bit of a thank you, and have helped with a few of the other boys. Taylor lives with Luke McDonald, and been doing a bit of work with Lukey. Been out with a couple of the figureheads, Mad Jack Dore and the like. Yeah. Good, speaks better English than us. He's terrific guy.
Sorry, it wouldn't be too hard.
So
he probably looks at you and goes, "Where do these blokes come from?
That's right, exactly.
Where do they come from?"
Yeah. They eat like 20 men, those guys. Yeah. But we have some fun with them, and it's good to see what happens at that level and how you relate it with Walshy too. Listening to his story with Essendon, that's terrific sort of stuff, and. I think at the end of the day, you really resonate how things are at that level and how they are at park level, and it's pretty good. And so it's just a nice pleasure, I guess, seeing how things work at different levels of footy. And at the end of the day, you're dealing with human beings regardless, and you're running into lots of good people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and with regards to your business, what's the best way to get in contact with you? The 0416 151 152, and it's
that's the one, and that's on until 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning. So if I'm out clubbing somewhere, we just give you a call. And
absolutely, you can.
Who's answering the phone? You or?
Yeah, you might get a response in Braille, but it goes down all right. So. Pretty good from that side of things. You can get me on the email. There's a couple of emails here on the
Darren at 2moons fs.com.au as well.
That's the one. And there's a landing page here for a website, or you can just ring the number or knock on the door at about 4 in the morning.
We'll put the link in our footnotes.
Yep, no worries. All right. Yep.
So Puppet, now this is the question. Puppet describe you guys as players who have made an indelible mark of any imported players in the club's history. That's an impressive statement from Pup, because we've had some a lot of characters here, a lot, and I know a lot of them. So what do you got to say about that?
I had to look at the definition of that word.
So did I. Had 3 times. I read it as inedible first. And I
thought there was food in there as well. And but it was funny with Puppet, because he was the first one who made the point of call. I actually played against Chelseaites. I remember we had a home game at South Melbourne at the Oval 9.
That's right.
And it was just me playing. Paul was at East Keilor still, at that stage because he had a year or so apart from me. That was the only time we were apart in our whole footy career. But what happened was, I think Bobby Smith and Puppet after the game was all over me like an eyebrow, and I thought, I don't know these guys. I thought they were a part of South Melbourne, but they were actually the opposition. And then we had a return game out at Chelsea Heights, and again the same thing happened. Puppet was talking to me, and I actually told him that I've got a brother. I don't know if you believe me, and I said, I've got an identical brother. He just plays exactly the same. And that was it. And then the next year, Chelsea Heights played South Melbourne again back at South Melbourne's ground, and Chelsea Heights got their first look at the two of us playing together, and we went berserko on them that day, and it was just a lot of fun. I remember Paul Smith, roast chicken. It was probably only a couple of seconds before the end of the game, and he said, "Fucking hell, there's two of them out here." Because I kicked it to my brother, and he just couldn't believe it. He goes, "Oh well, at least we know the possessions were shared." So, but that was really funny. And from that point on, Puppet chased me through Barry Kidd, who was affiliated with Port Melbourne in the VFL. And he knocked on my office door out at Reservoir one day when I was doing an accountant's role out there, and I thought, he's all over me. This bloke, he's following me everywhere, and it was very funny. And he ended up getting Paul and I out to Chelsea Heights, and that was really good how that happened. And South Melbourne Districts ended up going to the amateurs, and that's what really made us go to Chelsea Heights, because they stayed in the Southern Footy League, and South Melbourne went to D4 amateurs, and we didn't want to play that crappy level of footy at that stage. It was like playing against kindergarten kids. So we ended up taking the offer up, and really at the end of the day, Chelsea Heights got a package. It was Paul and I, and when we had our heart set on something, we said, we were committed. We didn't muck around, and we said, well, we need to play good footy, and that was it. So that's pretty much what happened, and we went from there.
Yeah. Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. They're playing at the Heights family and what you do. Yeah, it should be on.
I assume you can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
That's good. Well, Darren said a lot already, but I'll just add a few bits and pieces. I'm a computer programmer. I've been doing that since the early 90s, and the last 5 years running my own business from home. So peak hour traffic on the way to work isn't too bad these days, and I'm not, having any trouble with the coronavirus. It's pretty much business as usual. So, business has been pretty good, just really slowed up for a little bit, and, back to normal real quick. So that's sort of what I do. Pretty much got my head stuck in the computer. And
give your business a plug.
Well, it's just Paul Moon Consulting, and pretty much my business is related to a lot of big companies. So I wouldn't be getting too many individuals just knocking on my door. I just deal with the big guys. Really, they're the ones who haunt me the most and keep me out of mischief. But, Paul Moon Consulting, that's what I do. And as I said, a lot of computer programming and just keep my head busy in the computer most days. Yeah. Just sitting there reflecting on what Darren said, I sort of recall many, many years ago, Mum and Dad come from the Port Melbourne, South Melbourne area, and some of the junior clubs and competitions were always punching on out our way. We lived out at Dallas, which is sort of near Broadmeadows.
Yeah,
and,
Dallas Brooks Hall.
So what did they do? They said, well, like there was zones back those days, and sort of like if you played in a certain area for so long, you were like, we would have been affiliated, for example, to Coburg in the VFA. Mum and Dad, being Port South, wanted us to be more affiliated to the Port area. So where do they send us? From good old Broady to the sweet old sunny skies of Port Melbourne and South Melbourne, where they were angels. Yeah. So that's how we ended up in that area. And, 1979 started playing at Park Towers, which was the big set of flats there in Park Street, South Melbourne. And a guy named Dave Rook coached all the kids who played there, and we went and played a couple of years. And that league folded, and
Yeah.
one of the teams we played against was Port Colts,
Yeah,
South
Port
Melbourne.
Colts,
We used to
pretty
play
rough,
against all
yeah.
those guys, East Malvern, Paran. We ended up, we thought, well, once the comp folded, we ended up choosing South Districts to play at, and we spent a pretty lengthy career there from juniors all the way through to seniors, and had an absolute ball there. All you felt pretty comfy running out with that crowd. They could all blue, so you know.
Well, Port Colts were always a pretty tough club, weren't they?
Yeah. The Port Colts guys were, and look, South Districts were just the same, and they were pretty respective of each other. They were like neighbours, and you know, there were a lot of tough boys in amongst them, and a lot of solid characters. But it was, you know, mutual respect for sure.
Yeah.
But,
You would have been playing around the Jason Love days, wouldn't you?
He was around then.
Yeah. He was
Jack
tough.
Love.
Oh yeah, Jack Love. Yeah.
Loves a bet. Loves a drink.
So you both can answer this one. Your boys were great players on the field, but I believe you've been great contributors off the field as well as organising some social functions down here. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. I think the first year, 2000, we sort of had a look at the club, and not that we were trying to take over or run it or anything, but I guess we shared past experience with Puppet and Benny Bradley and the like, and so why don't you do a year-end raffle? And they liked the idea, and just did a reverse draw and got it going. And the good thing is, what made it easier to run was the fact that we were there training and playing, that we could really promote it, hit it hard, and sell the tickets and all that stuff. And it was a really good success, and I won it the first year.
I didn't know that.
And it was my footy jumper number 27.
I reckon maybe Puppet let you win it the first year.
He could.
He might have won the second year.
Toddy, I won it the last year too, mate. So we've covered the bookends.
But when I got paid, it was in lira. So no, it was good.
Second once. Not second last. Because you used to get your money back first. If you were first,
you might have got something, first card or ticket
and
out.
the closest I ever got to winning any was second.
We
but you got nothing anyway.
We ran it well.
You've done well. But that's a really good. It's credit to you guys, because you did that when you were here, and then when you left, you still come back and did it anyway. And that means a lot to a lot of people, because and the reason you're here tonight and stuff like that, you still got that affiliation with Chelsea Heights, and you're still prepared to come down and drive all that way and still trying to help out the club. So
so we understand that for club survival, regardless of what they do, if you don't have money coming in the door and people, and you're going to be so poor, you'll be going to KFC licking other people's fingers. So see you later. So you do need funds, and we understood that, and we always contributed, on the field, but did it off the field as well. And we I guess we're competitive beasts when we played our footy, and that's pretty much how we were off the field as well. But we're quite respectful off the field to people, but might have been a bit different on the field. But
just a tad. But that was basically that was the question. That's what we got back to at the start of that question. Is that you really left a mark at the club, because you just didn't come in and play, and you actually associated yourself with the club. You put your heart and soul into the club, and you're still there, and you still have fond memories, and you're still part of the club.
Oh, so. Absolutely. Even driving down tonight, coming from home to South Melbourne and then here, it brings back good memories. Even just as you approach the ground and you think of all the times that when we did drive down here for training and game day, and we had a lot of South Melbourne guys come with us as well. After we won the grand final in 2000, we had a couple of really quality people come down as well, and it was funny on the way down, and it was hilarious on the way back. So
I don't remember. I think we did the K's one day. The K's from your place to here was it 36 K, something like that? What? It was whatever it was. 2 nights a week. Then Saturday, and then a Sunday. So you blokes did a few hundred Ks just to come down and train and play the Heights.
Yeah, and that, as I said, once you're embedded into the ideal of playing, you're committed, you're in. And we just loved it. And I just remember as a kid going to South Melbourne that, we didn't have a car and catching public transport. And that's pretty much how I got my first job, was that a gentleman named John Bradley, who had his own business, he just loved the way we played footy, and he said, if you can adopt that and put it in a business, he goes, oh, you got someone who's just full on committed. So and that's exactly how we played, and it was just, I always say, if you want to be a good footballer, your heart and mind have to talk to each other and have to be on the same page. And but we loved it. We were like a dog on a freeway hanging out the window with our tongue out. So.
There's a few questions coming in, more about tips for Perth this Saturday. Trifectas. Can you give me a winner? Someone's put in here. You're always late down here. Is that right?
No. P Moon's always late, and you've already given out my mobile number for the tips. So.
So a little bit about your memories of the club, your playing days, coaches, teammates, and your performances.
Yeah, both you guys. Yeah,
you guys were pretty good. You were good players. So tell us about your memories of both playing down here and the fun time.
Yeah, well, first year we come down here, grand final. I won the BNF the first year, and Paul still thinks he should have won it, but that's the way it goes. It was just great. Shane McComb was the coach the first year we were down here, and you really wanted to play for him. He was just a nice guy, but bloody he could play footy. Always bobs into my head and think, geez, he was a good player. And he had that really good Parkdale connection, Chelseaites, and you had the Gately boys and Geno, just some great,
Aussie.
Magnificent players, and you sort of blend that in with obviously the locals that we now like. Obi was a funny character, because when we come down here to just suss out the club, he was all over us like a wog eyebrow, but he was really good, because he was talking about when we played against Chelseaites, and he was just saying, look, you got to do that for us. So, and that was a lot of fun. But look, we were treated fantastically well by all the committee people and all the players. Goober, David Cross, even a stealth moth. O'Keefe, number 17. He was a little whippet. He was a good little player, and but you think of all those guys at Parkdale connection, us, and then the locals from Chelseaites was really good, and we had a bloody good team that first year, and it was a lot of fun.
Paul, anything to add to that?
Who's some of the best players or the funniest players you played with?
Yeah, a little bit about your playing days.
Funniest or best?
Oh,
they're in two different categories.
Well, just
your playing days.
Well,
tell us about your playing days. Yeah.
Well, obviously, I just remember Puppet saying, if part of his marketing spiel was, if we get you down here, we're going to win a flag. If we get you down here, we'll win a flag. And he kept saying it. Sure enough, he was right. Year one, bang. I'm sure he was, pretty proud of a plan that he orchestrated, and he implements the plan, and the ultimate goal of winning the flag happens, and that's what it's all about. And we're proud today that he nagged us to come down, and kept saying, all we need is you guys to just put the icing on the cake and we'll win this flag, and it happened. So we're pretty proud of that, just as he is, and all the other people associated to recruiting us. But you look back, at the players that I played with over the 6 or 7 years that we were down here. Scotty Crowe would be hard to beat as a best player.
One of my favourites.
And I'm sure one day he played on Gary Ablett Senior for half and kept him goalless. So that's how good he was. So Scotty Crowe could play a bit. Now,
I always say that the day he kicked 10 against Kill City. Not sure that he just smashed them. Kicked 10 against Kill City.
Yeah, we were at that game.
They were giving it to him all the time, and he's kicked 10 and he's just gone.
Basically. He could play. I remember him falling. He was sort of like about 50 metres out, sort of half falling backwards, off balance, and he kicks a goal on his left foot. That was a pretty good goal. But he was a pretty special. Look, played a lot taller than he was, and he's 5'0", and but he could take a mark. But he was on the deck. He was awesome, left, right, freakish player, and then we played with we had a 30-year career. We got to see some pretty special footballers, and played with a guy who was Scotty Crow's twin, a guy named Stephen Gray out at East Keilor, and he was ice. That's his name, just ice. Awesome. He was cool as a cucumber, and I'm not kidding. If you seen them together, you would have thought they were twins. They were just like very similar shape and size. Ability was about equal. So we got to see a couple of special players like that. But look, you look at Chelsea Heights and you look at some of the good plays. Travis Coote looked absolutely awesome the way he just kicked the ball, like left footer, beautiful, majestic left footer.
The Cyclops.
Cyclops he was. But he looked when he kicked the ball, he looked awesome and that. But there was play like Shane McComb was a great full forward. He was a fantastic full forward, and we brought down Johnny Lindsay for a year, and
handy Johnny, very handy,
quick as boot the ball.
Left footer, wasn't he?
Left footer, and very quick. Just get a dinky little kick out.
And
always
could kick the ball a mile.
Yeah. For a little bloke, he kicks at 60, so it's kind of strange. But the logo, Glenn Nugent. He didn't miss.
If you're listening, your favourite player.
He did not miss. He didn't miss the logo. He always hit you on the tit.
He's a good man, Hughes.
Hagan. We brought him down from South Melbourne as well. He was an entertaining
Ricky May,
captain coach.
Ricky
May, Jumbo Asaki, as we call him. Hayes was a great clubman. He was a good player, but he was a great clubman.
He's a really nice player,
and he was a ripper fella to have around.
Actually.
Looking at the local guys, like I must admit, I love Geno. I always loved David Jensen from Parkdale. He was a ripper bloke. Just loved the way he went about his footy, But we were pretty lucky to.
Is he still landscaping ceilings?
He's busy. He's busier than a one-armed bricklayer in Beirut.
There's a few little Robbie Mallett has asked, tell us about the organiser, greatest footy trip ever. That doesn't mean anything to me, but it must mean to you guys.
Wasn't there?
Good old Paulie Melody's brother. He organised a trip. He organised a trip to the Gold Coast. Yep. I'm telling you now, he got the name the organiser, and rightfully so. There's about 15 of us, and he gets a Tarago for 7. So everywhere we went, there was like 6 blokes on the roof.
A six-pack short.
And I've never seen so many blokes want to drive. I'm not kidding. So every time I'd hear about Paulie Mallett going on a holiday, you'd say, "Oh yeah, Paulie's going on a trip to Bali." Oh, is he hiring the Tarago? And by the way, the joint we stayed in, it was just low. They had like school lockers. They had like school lockers as our wardrobes, and none of the doors worked. You could just go in one room to another and just
no locks
open
on
up
doors
the door and heckle each other's room. And on footy trips. Golden rule number 1, lock your door. Well, none of these locks worked. We just looked at Paulie Mallett by about day 3 and thought, never again.
There's John Lindsay kicked a goal from the centre circle one day, 80 metres with the breeze point on his back.
I thought it was against the breeze.
Against the breeze, was it? 80 metres.
Yeah, and that was with his right.
There's still always any bets from the Moon, so everyone wants to have a punt. So you must get some good tips.
Organise your own punters page.
Yeah.
We go to Perth.
Go to Perth.
There's a couple of specials in Perth. There's a 40 to 1 pop this week. Flow. That's not a bad chance. Ex Sydney horse. There you go. 40s.
Nice disc, Flow.
Yeah, so I believe you boys were pretty famous for a sledge or two. So can you remember any famous ones? Remembering the shows rated PG, and this could be our last.
So either do it right or just go out and bang.
I'll say one about there was a ripper with Darren. I remember Darren was playing in the ruck, and he had a bit of a hot game where he just had the ball on a string. He just slaughtered the other bloke. We got beaten this game, and we're coming off the ground and shaking hands with the opposition, and Darren goes up to the ruckman, and the guy knows his team's won, so he's kind of celebrating, but he's been slaughtered, and Darren says, "Was it 1 or 2, mate? Was it 1 or 2?" And the guy's looking confused, and I'm standing there thinking, what's he on about? And, and he goes, was it 1 or 2? And, and the guy goes, well, what do you mean? He goes, was it 1 or 2 touches today? And the guy goes, yeah, you got me. Yeah, I didn't have a good day. And that was just... it was just a great bag. It was just a great bag.
It's not bad from a losing side.
Yeah. He did say to the guy, he goes, you're about as funny as your game, mate. But that was a bit of a beauty. But a couple of, you talk about sledges, but you talk about funny incidences. Remember playing for South Melbourne one day, and we're playing Mount Waverley out at Mount Waverley, and there was this guy running around, sniping the young kids, and, South Melbourne wasn't exactly the team you should have been sniping the young kids, because there's a few older blokes on there who are pretty happy to come and give you, a little clip back. And anyway, one of the guys, Beanie, I'm not kidding, full-blooded, just tries to kick the guy when he was down, and he's missed him. Well, thank God he did. He wouldn't be here today. But later on, Beanie caught up with him, and he's ended up on a stretcher, this bloke. And the bloke's getting carried off on the stretcher, mouthing off, and he thought that was going to save him. He went and hooked him again while he was on the stretcher, getting carried off. So, if you thought you'd seen everything, have you ever seen a bloke, right, getting hit on the stretcher on the way off? That was a beauty. And we had another guy named Kid Drew who playing Beau Morris out at Beau Morris, and crowd was giving him a lot on the wing, so he just dropped his ducks and give him the old brown eye. Got 4 weeks. So how do you think you've seen it all? Well, there you go. There's a few of those funny moments that you don't see every day.
What about you? I know, and that's the question. Grant asked me, he said, have you got something on the Moons? I said, they were good sledges, and I thought, Jesus. In the political times we are now, we've got to be a little bit careful what we say. You'd have a couple of crackers.
Yeah, we had we had some funny supporters at South Melbourne. It was like trying to outbag Rodney Roode. He had no open. I remember one guy, Dale McNamara, the thief. Get off the
thief. Is that the thief we're talking about?
Oh, he's good, the thief. We're going to have to talk about him.
For sure. That'll come up later.
I remember one. He used to bag guys who hitting kids. He goes, that'd be right, hitting little students, and one of his famous lines was, "Get off the ground and give your team a chance."
That is the ultimate sledge.
Which is magnificent. This guy had people wanting to fight him while the ball was in their vicinity. It was hilarious. But some of the things he did. Paul was watching an old South Melbourne Districts versus Cheltenham game yesterday, actually, and he goes, remember the thief? He goes, the ball trickled out of bounds. He's on the sidelines. He's got the ball, and there's a scuffle. There's a whole heap of bluing going on. The thief's picked the ball up, full pelt. I thought it was the umpire's head, but it was one of the opposition players. But if it connected, it would have sent him to Pluto. But that was that was, well, if it hit someone, it wouldn't have been good, but should have been on the Channel 9 footy show. It would have went down all right. But having people like that around the club was unbelievable. Like they're the characters you grew up with, and we just seen a lot of funny things. I remember we were playing Cheltenham one day, and I was only a young tacker, but watching the game, and they were commentating on the top of the South Melbourne District's roof. And Shane Doyle, one of the famous Doyle brothers, has belted one of the Goodchilds in the middle of the ground. There was a famous brothers at Cheltenham, and he's given him a clip, and he's gone down like a bag of shit. And no one's seen it on the whole ground. Nobody's seen it. And then a Cheltenham plays just walked past this player who's on the ground in the middle. And the commentary in the on top of the roof was, someone's fainted out there. And he goes, go and get him some sunscreen, some 30 plus. And then a blue started because no one knew who did it. And anyway, when the good child was getting carried off the ground on the stretcher, they said, take him around the back and shoot him. And he goes, I think he's got... He goes, what happened to him? They said, I think he's got sore socks.
Broken a fetlock, you reckon? Might have broken a fetlock.
It was just, some of that was very funny. And
but I was just discussing before the show, it's changed so much, footy. You can't get away with you guys have been banned for years. Everyone would have been banned for years. And what you used to say, sledge. I mean, it was nasty, but it was a bit of fun. It was sort of tongue in cheek. It was just to get basically under the skin of the opposition and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's sort of in those days. It was, it stayed on the field, and after the game you had a beer, etc. And I think today it's become very sensitive, and you even look at what's going on with racism and all that in the AFL, and obviously they can't. We're not supposed to swear, but things like that. It's become super sensitive. And I even look in the business world today. I mean, have a look at insurance, for example. You're insuring everything you do, really, and it didn't exist 20, 30 years ago. So you sort of...
it's like we said, we don't talk politics, we don't do that. I get what they're trying to do, but when you play footy, you play footy. It's out there, you shake hands, and that's the end of the game. It's as simple as that. That's how footy should have been played. I think it should still be played that way, so...
Just got a toddy, a bit ridiculous. I guess there's guidelines and rules you got to follow, but I think it's just been in life and out the footy field in particular. You just want to go out there, play the game, have fun, and there's a few scuffles and there's a few sledges and whatever, and get off the ground and everyone has a beer and away you go.
It's a simple game.
Yeah,
it's a simple game. Play it hard. Have a beer.
Without the politics.
Exactly, and move on next week and see you play next week. So.
Yeah. As long as blokes aren't king-hitting each other and things like that, leave that out.
That's changed. That's changed. I mean, that shouldn't be in the game. That's understandable. But it's still supposed to be a tough game. It's a man's game, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. So just move on. Yeah. Is it my go?
Yeah, ask the question.
Jesus.
What time for the Demon Tail?
It's Demon Tail time, boys. Best player you ever seen at the Heights. And you can name yourself.
Yeah,
if you want to be a narcissistic bastard, for sure.
So can I pick me
Walsh,
brother?
She's still there.
Pick your brother and you can bring you.
We had Simon Fanning on last week. He spoke about himself for about an hour, didn't he? Best player he's ever seen himself.
He did.
So self-interest always wins in a toss race, does it?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. For sure.
It's all right if you can pump your own tyres.
We'll sell the story.
But, I won't talk about me brother because I watched him for... He'd put a glass eye to sleep, so... But definitely Crowie would be one of the best you've seen just for his silkiness and smoothness, and he would definitely be up there as one of the best. And I suppose the good thing is that you look at like some of the AFL credential players who come through the club, and even VFL, just blessed to have those sort of players running around. But definitely Crowie would have been one of the best for sure, no doubt.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was like silky.
Just, and
for the size of him.
The size of him.
Huge.
What you love about those players, and you probably... I was listening to the radio this morning, SEN, talking about Isaac Heaney, and I think what makes a special player is someone who goes for their marks, and you could be 5'7" or whatever, but if you go for your marks, good marking player is one of the beautiful highlights of footy. And Crowie was as clean as a whistle when it come to that sort of stuff, and probably balls he shouldn't have got to. He ended up turning into a clean grab.
He was one of my favourites.
Yeah,
absolutely one of my favourites.
Pleasure to play with him.
What about you, mate?
Well, I did mention Crowie earlier and saying how he was very similar to the guy we played at East Keilor, Stephen Gray, Ice. He was pretty special player, but Crowie's probably the number one there, and there's other players like you have what you think is your best players, but you also have your favourites. And like I said, Travis Coote was a ripper to watch. He beautiful left foot, loved his kicking. Yeah, and he'll probably tell you every now and then that he got up there just now and then for a screamer, but I can't remember him ever getting up there. But his kicking was awesome.
It's nothing I remember right now.
Yeah, like I said, I love Geno, the way he went about his footy. He was just like a consummate all-rounder, he just done the job. Geno played a few inches taller, we were blessed with blokes like Glenn Nugent. He was a ripper player. Robbie Mallett, the Rock of Gibraltar, the principal down the back.
Good man, the principal.
Yeah,
very solid.
The principal was pretty good. Didn't see him get beat too often.
No, definitely not.
No,
definitely not.
I mean, he kept most of his full forwards comatose victims. He made sure they didn't get away from him too much. But he was a real ripper, reliable fullback. Wouldn't be far off. Wouldn't be far off the best.
When you think about it, we had some good players and good team.
Yeah, even Chris Morgan, great.
Yeah,
He was. He could take a mark. Morgs was a ripper, athletic type player, and he could take a
I'd
hell
love
of a
him a
mark.
little bit. He coaches up at where my young bloke plays at Morty Bray.
Does that disappoint you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but
Morganite.
I've got nothing for my young bloke, so I'd better pass him to somewhere else. So, good bloke, sticky bits.
Guys, apart from putting the form guide in your footy bag, did you have any pre-game or post-game rituals that you used to follow? We like asking all the players this because it gets in your head sometimes, doesn't it? If you don't do this, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Things don't go your way.
We loved our little... We used to get bagged for it, but we used to love preparing for the game, like stretching, making sure from top to bottom, from back to front, we would stretch for a good solid hour and Mooney's still stretching, you get all that sort of thing. But I think at the end of the day, like that, we like that ritual and we like to loosen up and, and as you got older, it was even more important because the piranhas were biting. Just ask Walshy. He can tell you about the piranhas nibbling in there at that hammy. So, the old piranhas would come nibbling if you didn't prep right, especially as you got older and a little bit, you got a little bit older and not as flexible as you once were. So, I think that was definitely one that we loved. But, I guess one of the rituals was to leave about, 9 p.m. the night before a game so we get here on time and make sure we had our passport at the Morty Bridge.
Bring in the cars.
Make sure that we had the cuz there for trivia nights. We'd have to unlock him from the library, but we get him to the trivia nights.
His homework was watching a Discovery Channel.
We had him connected to Foxtel and unlocked him from the library so we can claim victory.
How many trivia nights did you win? Because I reckon I come second once with you.
Well,
Not with you, but against you.
Well, the more important thing is how many did we lose, and I'd have to say it wasn't
many.
Was it? Yeah.
Before you go, Walsh, do you have any pre-game rituals at all?
Oh, no, I was the same. Always a massage.
A massage,
and
yeah.
Stretching was one.
Stretching as well, yeah.
I just get in at half time after the half time from the twos, just straight in and just try and just chill out and just relax. So yeah, probably the same.
Yeah. And Darren?
Probably really the prep to Getty. I know that sounds like if we played at St Kilda City, it was like it's like you're walking to the shops. So long way to the shops.
Yeah.
But after the game, we our ritual was to go and get a winner in Perth and have a beer, and go out and chase the chicks or whatever. And that'll be about it. Yeah, it's real simple.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So Doom Tales, best. Give us one of your good stories.
One each, yeah.
Why, whatever, one each. Start with you, Paul. Best story about the club. Footy trip, whatever. Just give us something.
Jeez, I had to room with Larks there on a Bendigo footy trip. I can tell you right now, that was pretty entertaining. But I must admit, there was one night we had a function at the club, and Larks hired a van because a lot of the players were players were drinking that night, so Larks hired a van to take them all home. Worst decision he ever made. By about 5 a.m, he just couldn't get rid of us quick enough because, I'm not kidding, that took about 6 hours to drop everyone off. We were just going from one suburb to the next to the next. That was hilarious. And there was blokes jumping in and out of the van. And what got me was the blokes who went into the van who didn't even need to be dropped off. Dinger, Irish. How did they get in the van? They weren't even getting dropped off, but that was quite entertaining. So Larks is quite good with the old story. You can throw Larks in and you got a few beauty stories, but I wouldn't dare want to room with him anymore. I think one Bendigo footy trip was enough.
Too many?
Yeah. And then the 6 hour trip to drop everybody off. And he learnt from his mistakes. Never again. He knew never to go and hire a van after a footy function with about 20 blokes pissed.
Good intentions.
Good intentions, but you know.
Hopefully you learn from your mistakes.
We didn't learn. He has, but we didn't. We were ready to do it all again next week, but he'd sacked us.
What are you, mate?
Oh, I don't know.
There must be plenty.
There's heaps. I think just coming down here was about hilarious every week. I really
was.
think so. One thing you got to laugh at, that we come in here in 2000. I reckon we've created about 4,000 nicknames.
True.
We've got this bloke called the Hairy Moth, and and I think he's hosting tonight. But
that's not me.
And that is funny. And,
it's on his phone. You show me the phone. It's got everything's got.
On mine too.
Everyone, Hagen Amona, this, Darren that, Hairy Moth, or Mrs. Hairy Moth.
Yeah, so we're serious with about 1,199 of them, but we got a ring in there, and it's a Hairy Moth. So, but no, the nicknames is an absolute beauty. Like the Organiser and the Cyclops and. Goober. I call him Uber Goober now because he was doing a bit of Uber there.
He was.
Uber Goober. So, but you think of things like that, where those stories come from. It's most likely from an event that happened here. But
we had the Apprenti, Quinny. The Apprenti. Mr. O'Keefe, Stealth Moth.
No, it was funny. Absolutely.
Principal.
So just one funny story prior to Chelsea Heights was I was going to some sort of seminar or conference in the city one day, and I was just looking at my phone at the traffic lights, and just to see, it was in one of these little back lanes or something, and I'm at the lights, I'm looking at the Google Maps, and I just looked to my left, and there's two coppers just looking at me. I thought, I'm gone. See you later, gone like last week's pay, seen it, pinched it, spent it. And so I just pulled over up ahead, and the copper got out the car, and he asked for my licence and that, and then he come back and he said, "Is you one of the Moon brothers?" And I said, thinking, where do I know this bloke from? He goes, "I'm so-and-so." He goes, "I used to play footy against you at Cheltenham Footy Club. Love watching you and your brother play." And he goes, "Have a good day, Mooney." I thought, thank God I didn't snot you or whatever. But that was, I had a bit of a chuckle that day. But otherwise, if I didn't know that guy, you're a goner, you get a fine. And
footy saves you money, Toddy.
Yeah, it does. But going back to my business, I've got it was all built. My whole business was built on footy, really,
Yeah.
and that's the beautiful thing you can think of for people who are affiliated with footy clubs, netball, whatever. You get to know people. But I got clients who I played footy with. I got committee people, and I got clients I played football against, and that's a respect factor.
Yeah, and that's what we've realised probably doing this show. Like these guys, I told you before, it was their idea to bring the show together and start the show together. And everyone we've spoken to, it's not so much a footy show about footy. It's about the connection of footy and bringing us all together. And we've got people I've met in the street, and someone knows someone knows who, someone has heard of you guys, and it's a massive connection. And it's about a sporting club, and because sporting clubs are very much maligned a lot of the times, but in the end, they're great places because you meet a lot of great people, you meet your lifelong friends, and you guys you have your business and you meet people you do business with. And that's what brings us all together, and that's what I think what we're trying to do with this show is we're trying to just connect with everyone. So
yeah, and the good thing for me in my business is that you go and see clients that you played footy with or against, and you can chin wag about that.
Yeah,
and,
the stories.
Yeah, it's the connection.
That's really good. That brings back good memories. And as I said, coming down here tonight, you just sort of look at that. The way you got here, and you think, you feel like you're playing footy again.
Yeah.
Driving down the highway, you sort of thought, it's been, it's only a couple of years that you hadn't played, but it's been a lot longer. It all looks pretty much the same. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, we've all got a bit fatter, a bit greyer and stuff like that.
You have, Toddy. Bit as a fiddle, us. But one of the comments that I did want to make was that there's not a week goes by, dead serious here, not 1 week goes by in my life and I haven't heard from a footy mate.
Yeah,
I will hear from a footy mate tomorrow. Apparently, he's too lazy to go and report on Centrelink, so I have to go online and report for him so that he gets paid. So he really gets me. It was playing up while the coronavirus was getting pretty nasty there and people couldn't get on the Centrelink app, but he's thought me doing it is a really good thing. So anyway, we catch up every second Friday, and he gets all excited. It's reporting day and all that sort of stuff. But just funny things like that, you're running all footy, mate. Every week there's a couple of different footy mates you'll hear from.
Absolutely.
And that goes without fail. It's unbelievable what footy does for your life later on.
Look, absolutely. I mean, and we're going to wrap up pretty soon. What's there go? We've got Dave.
Yeah, no, keep going. Yeah.
What I want to say, like, I met you guys X amount of years ago, and we've been friends for that long. And you put shit on me and we put shit on each other, and we've had that connection for a long time, and we'll be lifelong friends. And that's what, you started there, we all sort of end up here, some connection. Yep. And like I said, you've enriched my lives, you blokes. You make me laugh all the time. I love you dearly, you know what I mean? I'm so glad you come down. We're so really happy to have you on. So, yeah pretty happy to have you on. So
and
it's great.
Just to fill you guys in, he's been talking about you two coming on the show for a long time. He's been excited about it.
Well, they just make me laugh. I don't even understand what they talk about half the time. When they get going, I've just lost, and they just start rambling on shit, and I just giggle.
I did forget one nickname, one of the most important, Jeff Harmon, Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
You're giving him the Ron Jeremy.
He listens tomorrow. He's going to work tonight, and he listens tomorrow.
So. Cheerio to Ron Jeremy, because I tell you what, he just had that little front bum. He just had that little front bum, and he was a little bit of a hairy moth like yourself. So I'll tell you what, he was RJ. Don't worry about that.
I had a Zoom meeting at North Melbourne yesterday. Had a few of the players on and a couple of the officials and coaches and whatever, and. I said, hey, Garns, Taylor Garner was on. I said, what's the go with the Ron Jeremy look? He's just laughing. But, even at that level, we can just spin a joke, which is good. So
absolutely.
So you're exactly right. We seem to have a secret code of nicknames. Doesn't matter who you run into, and you can throw that nickname out there. We always get a laugh. And as you said as well, with business, how many things do we take out of footy that we take across to business? It's really important.
Yeah, it's really, it's just a life lesson, really, that football and any other sport, especially when it's in numbers, it gives you life skills and it allows you to communicate and talk and show leadership skills. And then you transfer that into your normal life, your private life, and away you go. And look, we're a believer that there's no such thing as a part-time C. So you have to be reflective in everything you do, because people remember the little things you did that might not have been good. So you need to behave, I guess, in everything you do, and that will be reflective across the board.
Yeah. We're going to get into the best 22. You want to read it out?
Am I reading them out?
You can do it.
Right, What have we got? So the best 22 this week. It's life members, and there's a lot of life members.
There was 50, apparently.
50, so this could be... we got, Puppet's going to give it to us. He's going to give it to us. It's not about the best.
This might break the internet again.
Yes, exactly. We did the brothers team the other week, and it went mental.
Yeah, we did.
So, best 22 this week, life members. The back line, Mark Slov Fanning, Wayne Costello, Ricky Turner. Halfbacks, Colin Dutchy Van Sumeren, Phil Moose Greenbury, Darren Wally Walsh.
There you go.
Walsh. Guilty. Centres, Travis Coote, Shane Rossborough and Greg Mully Malvogue. Half forward line is Phil Filthy, Isolation Matheson, Paul Smutley Smut and Danny D. Mac. I've got another three names, McShane. Forwards, Damien Mearns, Neil, the legend, Puppet Lockhart, Jason, what do you call him? Stealth Moth, Moon, Slasher, Keith, Dogboy, Keith.
Dogboy.
Ruck, the Burger, Paul Weinberg, Ruck Rover, the legendary great player for Chelsea Heights, Ryan Flack, Rover, the Little Terror, Geordie Perryman, the interchanges, Gavin Hoss-White, Jason O'Brien. The Journeyman. Lee Waterboy Thwaites. Chris Hans Lunatic.
That's it. All right. Let's get Dave's joke.
We're ringing Dave.
We're ringing Dave.
Dave will be...
Hang around, boys. We're going to hear from Dave. Put the headphones on.
He'll be...
Still be able to listen to this.
I hope he's awake. I hope he's three-quarters cut.
Have you got Dave's number?
Fuck, I have somewhere.
Yeah, we'll get Dave's number.
Am I ringing him, or who's ringing him?
If you've got the number, give it to our producer, and we'll get into it. Give him a call.
He rang me before. This is where I let myself down with professionalism.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm the one who's behind the camera. Do you like my haircut?
Yeah, love it. Yeah. Our real producer's got the number.
Seriously, don't ask me shit.
Our real producer.
Don't ask me anything. I can't do anything. I'm hopeless. Unemployed chef.
So what are we expecting tonight? Is this...
He sent me a really good one the other week, and I thought it was great. And he goes, "Well, I can't say it's a bit too edgy."
Here we
he
go.
sent one last week. It was a shit house, but anyway.
Hello.
David!
Yeah, how are you? You shit on me already, Todd?
Already, mate. You've been listening in.
Yeah, I got a bit of it. I heard you dobbed yourself in at the end there, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've had a couple.
That's all right, mate. How you going? It's a good show again, boys.
Thanks, mate. How you been? Good?
Yeah, I've been working. I've been working back on the tunnel, thank God. So I've had to miss a few nights, but I'm working tomorrow night, but not tonight.
And young Nico's birthday the other day?
Yesterday, yeah, 17, 6'1". He's definitely not fucking mine, Todd, that's for sure.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Hang on, darling. Yeah.
So what do you got for us, Dave? You got one for us?
Yeah, if you're ready.
Yeah, mate, let it rip. Let it rip. It could be a last show tonight, so let's go for it.
Well, it definitely will be after this one. All right, there's a job advertised at the Frankston Centrelink. There's a fanny waxer's assistant.
Fanny waxer?
And a fanny waxer, yeah, assistant. And the job includes removing the ladies' knickers, prepare the fanny for waxing, and rub oil generously after waxing. When I rang and applied for the job, they told me I had to go to Cows on Phillip Island. I said, "Is that where the job is?" She said, "No, that's the back of the fucking queue." There you go, boys.
Thanks,
Short and
David.
sweet.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Great show, boys. Great show. Keep up the good work.
Good on you, Dave.
Thanks for the input.
Catch up with you soon.
Yeah.
See you, boys.
Good on you, mate.
All right, so just to wrap it up, I want to thank Walshy, before you go, thank you so much for your exclusive interview. We will read your memoirs when they do come out.
No worries, fellas. Thank you.
Thanks for that, and we're looking forward to watching you play. And to the Moon Boys, I can't wait. This year's past players is going to be bigger and better than ever because all the crap we've gone through this year. I just can't wait to... We're getting to know so many people. We've got to know you guys tonight. Thanks very much for your stories, and I can't wait to catch up with everyone. Have a massive past players and share some fantastic stories. And it is the 10-year anniversary of the Thirds. Is that right?
10 years anniversary of the Thirds grand final.
We're going to celebrate that as well.
Yeah, we're going to try and fit that in as well.
Yeah,
so that was a great. We were basically given the proviso of get your own team, get everything by yourself. Fubbit said, "Look after yourself. You got nothing from us." So, and it's a really good story. There's a really good story.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get Jeff on.
Yeah, can't
because
wait.
I think he played in six or something losing grand finals.
Yeah.
And it's a really good story.
Yeah,
so
can't wait to hear it.
hopefully we catch up for that. So that'd be great.
And I want everyone to tune in next week because I'm really looking forward to it. The Jock McGregor special.
Yeah.
We're going to hear all the Jock stories. Also, send any Jock stories you have. Not just Jock McGregor. If you've got any Jock stories, but we're doing a retro show.
Yeah, we're going retro next week, so we'll
retro.
get the fake porno mates out.
Yeah, porno mates.
So
I'll bring my old Heights jumper.
I'll just bring my wardrobe.
Wardrobe,
It's
yeah.
simple.
Yeah, pretty easy. So I'm really looking forward to that. So
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Anything else at all?
Can I finish off with a joke?
Yeah, you can. Go for it.
What do Kiwis wear for aftershave?
Oh.
Mint sauce.
Short and sweet, I love it. Thank you so much to Two Moons Financial Services. Give them a call. Darren Moon, 0416 151 152. The mortgage broking, refinancing, he's got competitive rates, I'm sure. He looks after the North Melbourne Football Club, so why wouldn't you go with him?
And tax returns.
And tax returns as well. So
Look, the motto is, or the slogan.
You gotta use the mic.
Yeah.
Do a tax return and we'll arrange an audit.
Thanks, everyone, and a great show again, and we'll see you all next week for the retro.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
it's been great.
Bye.
Good on you, boys.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grow your business with social videos. It's not an option anymore. As humans, we're hardwired to absorb story. Video is where story thrives. Storytelling in video ultimately provides more opportunity for your audience to develop a strong connection to your product. Social media demands content. Let Major Tom Media create social video content for your business and watch your engagement grow. Go to majortommedia.com and become irresistible to your audience.